My name is James Dickerson, and I'm doing super fantastic. Charged up with positive energy, exuberant and excited about life, ready to face my next challenge with courage and enthusiasm. If I was doing any better, my smile would be a socially intrusive, maladaptive behavior. Jacked out of my mind, and I ain't taking it back. Now, y'all give it all the way up for me right now. Yes, sir.
I needed you rolling next to me all day.
It's all about energy. Everything is energy. Everybody say everything is energy. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. The music as you came in, the food, the ambiance of the building provided by NexCore. Put y'all hands together for NexCore right now. So I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. So, we added a little piece to the puzzle. The food kind of changed the flow and made it easier for me to come in and start blasting on folks because I ain't hungry. But what it also did was show the generosity and the commitment of the owners and staff of NexCore. So that's why I wanted you guys to give it up for them up front, because these people are really putting their best foot forward to show their commitment to advancing the plight, the economic plight of people of color all across this region. And they have extended above and beyond anyone's imagined call of duty for these people who are in business to make money. And they decided to participate and help Dr. Atlanta to advance his cause. And now they're offering food. And I just want you guys to give it up for them one more time. I love it here. I came and joined NexCore about a couple of months ago, maybe 2-3 months ago now, I think. And I was just here to help Dr. Lance to move this meeting to a new location and participate. And I got stuck. For real. And I have to say this right now because I don't want people to come here and only experience what we do in this room and and network with each other and cut deals and different things that do happen here, and all those things are wonderful, and really miss the fact that we're in a real co-working space that is a springboard for the growth of any business. Instead of spending $1,000 a month to try to hold down an office space, it's possible for a person to spend less than $200 a month and be in the same type of environment as an office space, but times 1,000. And that's why I'm here at NexCore. And I've been in a few different co-working spaces, right? A few different co-working spaces. How many of you guys been to the Cortex? Yes? So there's a nice co-working space there, and it's really big and upscale, just like NexCore. But I've been there, and I'm telling you, it's a lot different there. This is Monday night. Can I be real on Monday night? Yes. All right. I'm gonna be real for the people that's feeding me. That's what I'm gonna do. All right. So let me be real on Monday night. So I've been there, and that's a great place. Well, the mistake they made there was by selling too much, by leasing too much space to the giant companies. So when I'm there working and networking with people, there's no real networking that ever takes place. Because everybody I run into at the coffee machine works for Boeing or Centene or Accenture or one of the big companies that have leased space there at the facilities. And I'm an entrepreneur, so I want to network with other entrepreneurs. That's what happens here at NexCore. And so I love being here. I love the fact that what happens at NexCore is completely in alignment with what Global 1000 does, which is collaborate and partner with business owners and different people who are engaged in changing the course of human events with their ideas. And that's what this is all about. You know, there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come.
Ooh.
But that wasn't my original statement.
Hallelujah.
I heard Dr. King say that, and I think he quoted somebody else. But it probably sounded best coming from me. No. So, but there is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Think of the brevity of that. I think Global 1000 is an idea whose time has come. The Monday night Money Talk meeting is an idea whose time has come. And the collaboration between Global 1000 and NexCore is indeed an idea whose time has come. And finally, you being here on every Monday night is definitely an idea that I can get super excited about and put your hands together for yourself. Now, I'm going to get out of the way, because I often say my mama taught me don't play on the tracks when the train is coming. I am not that train, but I am on the track, so let me move. We got great speakers here tonight. We always have great speakers. But ahead of that comes a gentleman who, 5 years ago, saw unrest in Ferguson, Missouri. And what he saw in Ferguson, Missouri made him do something a little bit different than people who wanted to protest in the streets. Much respect to the folks who expressed themselves. But what he saw was that you can't solve economic problems with social solutions. And he wrote that in his book, From Wall Street to the Hood.
That's right.
Get the book. And so he started Ferguson 1000. And they grew to Baltimore 1000. And they grew to LA 1000. Then Chicago 1000. And then Miami 1000. And then now it's Global 1000.
Yeah.
And there's stuff happening all over the place.
Hey.
And then he's about to come up right. Oh yeah, give it up. He's about to come up and share his thoughts and then share with you what's going on with the Global 1000. I want you to open your ears and your hearts and your minds to receive the information, and even more than that, receive the man, the visionary, my real friend, Dr. Elan McCarthy!
If this is your first night coming to Monday Talk Mondays, we call this business church, and so Brother James Dickinson is in praise and worship. We believe in praying before meetings, pray at the end, and do business testimonies, because we believe you have to be deliberate in order to hit the objective that we're trying to do. As he stated, 5 years ago, we started Ferguson 1000 as an economic development platform to increase economic development job opportunities here in the St. Louis and the Ferguson market. We've now grown to 8 cities across the country. Our goal is to do 50 cities in 50 countries, create 100 Black millionaires to check. Very simple. Black people hire Black people. So if you have an agenda specifically delivered towards that, we believe we will hit it. So we're very fortunate to have our team here at you all tonight. Bishop has already prayed for the food, so we'll move into our agenda, which is to go around the room real quickly, say who you are, who you're with, and then I will give you an overview of what we're working on with Global 1000, and then we'll have 2 of our great speakers come up and share. After they talk, and we'll talk specifically about any business ideas that you have. Is that great?
Great.
Let's start with the illustrious Ms. Sheila Reed.
Sheila Reed, PR Director, Global 1000, radio personality, broadcast journalist.
Good. All right, Denise Outlaw Adams, cousin of our guest speaker. Real estate broker extraordinaire. Extraordinaire. Been licensed in real estate 22 years. Been licensed, well, HR director for 19. I'm a plant and implant coming back home, been relocated 8 times, 8 cities, California, Detroit, Dallas, Pasadena, Atlanta, Houston, Washington, D.C., Option Hill, Maryland, Houston and Dallas, and ultimately back here with Anheuser-Busch. So, celebrating that big 6-4 next week. I'm an entrepreneur to my soul. So, anybody who wants a badass real estate broker and
Come on now, this is
to do
it.
some real estate, no property is too big, too small, relocation is my stuff. Denise,
Shut up.
Yeah.
All right.
Baby girl.
That's how you introduce yourself.
Baby girl. Cousin.
My brother.
Well, my name is Brandon Easy, entrepreneur. Currently right now I work at FedEx. I do music, aspiring, multiple fleet owners, you know what I mean? And, that's it.
I didn't know what you meant. No, I don't know what you mean.
So basically, I'm a music producer. I work at FedEx and I also want to own a fleet of trucks.
Okay.
Transportation company, I'm talking about, yeah. Deron Smith, I'm pretty much a serial entrepreneur. I'm diversifying my time and my money in music, fashion, business, cannabis, fleet, Global1000. It doesn't stop. This is the young energy of the group.
All right.
Amen.
All right.
And I'm the next youngest energy of the group. Somewhere in there. And I'm a business development strategist, and that plays out in a lot of different ways. One of my favorite ways that it plays out is in helping Dr. Lance to advance the cause of Global 1000.
Dr. J. Salam, photo journalist, one of the international newspapers in the world, and also a business owner, entrepreneur, of course, and a business and personal development coach.
Ron Llewellyn, I'm the faith-based director here with Ferguson 1000, Global 1000.
Ronnie B, I'm the text alert, Global 1000. If you did not receive a text alert about tonight and you want to receive one in the future about things that's going on, see me after the meeting. I'll be more than happy to get you updated.
My name is Dee Perry, and I'm a real estate broker also.
Text right there.
My new thing is I am a distributor for CBD, so if anybody's interested in CBD, I have gummy bears, mints, you got pain, you need to lose weight, whatever it could possibly be. Pain is my big thing, and if you got some pain, I can spray some on you right now to make it go away.
What you say?
All right? I'm just glad to be here. Ronnie Baird invited me. He's been telling me to come for a while, but what can I say? I'm a little slow. I'm ready
Pain.
Excuse me, I'm shocked. James Robinson. I do a couple different things. I've been with Dr. Lane. It's come around since he started this Ferguson 1000. I do business consulting. I'm a columnist, the land development project. So I've got a couple we're working on now. If anybody's interested in the Fountain Park project, along with team development. So I'd like to talk to you ladies about that. I'm an insurance agent. I own an insurance company. I'm also a broker. And I own one of probably the oldest printing companies in town, Styles Clothing. We print, manufacture apparel. I've got a contract with the government and some other stuff. So,
Say that again, what's the last thing you just said?
I have an NAACP contract with the federal government, so if anybody's interested. I actually have procurement in about 7 different things. Oil and gas, textiles, healthcare, of course insurance, and manufacturing of apparel.
Take 1 minute and explain what an 8A firm is.
We are a government entity where 8A, you can be a minority contractor with the government, which allows you to bid on different contracts in your field. 8A is just something special. It gives you about 9 years to go after most of the larger contracts that they wouldn't normally give small businesses. And you have to go through a rigorous amount of paperwork in order to get certified in it. But it's very doable if anybody has businesses that they like to get into.
Is that in any field?
Is that
In any field?
in any field?
Yeah.
Any field, yes, sir.
And also, is that the number 8 and the letter A?
The number
Yes,
8 and the letter A.
There's a small company out in Maryland Heights by the name of Worldwide Technology.
Yeah.
Well, they started as an A firm. And so
Amen.
it's a very
That's my
strong designation.
Amen.
And so,
don't
we
know.
asked him to come out tonight, he's gonna probably come back and speak, but we want to be able to aggregate his status as an 8A in order to use the services that we have in here to get contracts. Everybody's here for a reason.
Hey!
Big B.
What do you want? All right, so Tommy Pearson Jr., I guess I'm here representing several hats. I look at the man with the nice hat on as I say that. I'm currently a state representative representing the 66th district, which is in North St. Louis County and a small portion of North City. Also a candidate for a state senate, which encompasses more of North County, the 13th senatorial district. I'm a pastor, so I pastor a church in St. Charles. And I'm also director of business development for a data analytics company that is housed in the Cortex CIC at CET, which is where I was at 6 p.m. thinking that this gathering was there, but I'm glad that I was able to make it here. And so I am just glad to be here to be able to use the platform that I have, you know, to help my people.
And just one note behind that, we always say that politics and economics are brothers and sisters, and we have to understand how we push business legislation in order to better our people. So we're very excited to have Tommy tonight talking about politics and business development and tech.
All right, so
This is the young me, if y'all didn't know.
I'm Martin Whitfield. I have a marketing firm called All-Time. I also have a summer film camp that I teach kids all aspects of film, making, producing, and cinematography. I just actually bought into a custom suit company called Christian James. I manage Record League from the St. Lunatics. Is that everything? I think that's
I'm working on my year.
we'll talk about that. Yeah, the agenda, what we got going on. I have a hoop and cigar bar also downtown St. Louis. And just open. Yeah.
Name of that?
Global hoop and cigar lounge.
Global what?
Glow.
Glow.
Global.
17th and Delmar.
My name is Diane Turner. I work downtown, that's why.
Okay.
I work for McCormick Barron, in their corporate office in their accounts payable, staff accountant, and I went to the zoo with Eric.
Yes,
That's why
yes,
I'm
yes.
here.
My name is Redditt Hudson. I work for Kimberly Gardner, St. Louis City Circuit Attorney in diversion and alternative sentencing. We're trying to put a real dent in that mass incarceration number. You know, it's been met with some resistance by the preservers of the status quo, but you have an extremely courageous circuit attorney who is remarkable in her commitment to working towards the kinds of reforms that she campaigned on, and I'm all too happy to be where I'm at, to continue the work that I've started many years ago in the criminal justice reform arena. Started at the ACLU back in 2005, the American Civil Liberties Union. From there I went to the national staff of the NAACP, came home, was at the Urban League briefly, which listening to you all speak this evening, I may reference some of that in my remarks. And now I'm over at the Circuit Attorney's Office continuing the work that I did. I used to be a police officer in St. Louis. Before all of that, I was a police officer in the city of St. Louis, but I resigned somewhat famously now, I guess, because of my profound disillusionment with the institutional racism that's at the foundation of our criminal justice system in the United States. And that used to be a controversial thing to say. It's no longer as controversial because people on both sides of the political aisle acknowledge the reality of it, Republicans and Democrats alike. And some of the conduct of some of my colleagues on the St. Louis Police Department, which has been receiving some attention here lately, also persuaded me that I did not want to continue in that role, although I knew that I did want to have some impact on a system that is just devastating families and communities all over the country.
Yeah.
So, got the invite from this good brother. We meet up at the 99.5 on the weekends. I got a show that comes on Saturdays. It's called Flash Drive. It's actually pretty good,
Which is my radio station.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Actually, radio station.
Great, great.
We went for substantive presentation, and I think we've been hitting that mark pretty consistently,
Yes, sir.
man. It's no clown stuff, man. We try to give the community information they can use.
I also want everyone to know that I forgot to mention, I'm an interior designer. If anyone
Yes.
needs design services, please let me know.
All right. Well, as you can see, we always have a great amount of quality in the room. It is so much talent in the black community, and we want to make sure not only do we share information, but how we move the agenda forward. Again, you have to be deliberate. I always tell people that my original partner, Ferguson 1000, asked me, why do you have meetings every week? And my response was, why do you go to the country club every day? We have to have a place that we can have a deliberate agenda in order to move the black agenda forward.
That's right.
Redditt mentioned the Urban League. I was the past president of the Urban League Orlando. I want to give a moment of silence for our great leader who ran the Urban League here, Mr. Jim Duca. Let's give a moment of silence for him. All right. So what we'll do, I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the things we're working on with Global 1000. Then we'll have our two great speakers share their vision and background for inspiration. Then we'll talk specifically about business ideas and opportunities. We keep this meeting an hour and a half. We're very respectful of people's time, but we have so many great people in the room we want to hear from. So, up on Global 1000, we are working on three particular projects right here in the St. Louis market that have come from the last couple of meetings. We do this all over the country. Again, in 8 cities across the country, we have what we call Pitch to Player, which is like Shark Tank. We sign them to our label, and we help them grow. There's 3 new firms have come online. One is a film project by a guy named Owen Woodard. He has done 3 documentaries here, very class infrastructure. He's doing a film called Milk Slide, which gives a historical perspective of some of the things we've gone through in the African American community. He really has a great story. We're assisting him in raising about $8 million to do the film. He's going to do it in Arkansas because, one, they have some great tax credits there, and he's been able to partner with them. So we're going to help him raise that capital over the next 3 to 4 months. We heard from our young brothers here. They're going to create a transportation company looking at subcontracting to some of the opportunities on the road. We're also talking to some people in Atlanta that have an opportunity with Amazon, and we're going to see if we can do that as we put together the project. We'll be helping them raise capital to get the trucks, again, with a great background in FedEx. We also have a medical doctor who's a scientist who has created a non-invasive diagnostic equipment. He's created the first prototype. We're going to assist him in raising the funds for the second. Hopefully we can go to the medical tech arena. We have a committee comprised of 6 physicians around the country who evaluate medical technology products that we work on, particularly one's a neurosurgeon, and the other is a pain specialist in Beverly Hills. So we'll be looking at that in the medical tech arena as we move our agenda forward. We all know that the medical industry needs to be turned away, in a sense, based on what is happening there. Some of the events that are coming up, we'll be in the Bahamas on December 30th. We're partnering with the Roberts Brothers. They do their annual event. We're going to do a Pitch to Player event that morning and then an event that night. Atlanta in January is the Black Restaurant Association. We'll be going with them down there to talk about how we can help black restaurants across the country. We will be doing something in the Super Bowl. We are partnering with a couple of groups down there. That is the end of January, I believe. We're going to have, again, every one of our events, we do a morning session, panels, a speaker, and then a pitch session, and then we have parties in the evening. We'll also be in LA in October, both the Oscars and the Grammys. We are partnering with the group who does the annual Black Actors event in Beverly Hills off the chain this year. We partnered with them in February, and they had Byron Allen speak. And before all the stuff they were doing, the brother spoke an hour and a half straight. I mean, just really talked about how he navigated Hollywood because they assumed that African Americans are just going to be the actor side, and he had learned through a network. Of course, he bought the Weather Channel, now it's bought another 30, 40 pitch, and it also has filed a federal lawsuit against Comcast. So we'll have the same type of speaker, hoping to get him back to say something, but that's going to be in Beverly Hills in February. Chicago will be in the NBA All-Star Weekend, which is Chicago in February. Again, we're going to do a morning session and then an evening piece. Vegas this year has an NFL draft with the Oakland Raiders now becoming the Las Vegas Raiders. There's a lot of things that happen in football in Vegas, and so we're very excited about that. Next is cannabis banking. For you all who don't know, we are deep in the cannabis game, but more importantly, for the last 10 years, when the first licenses were granted in Colorado, and now 10 years later they're doing $1 billion in tax revenue, it's been difficult to find banking because it's not federal yet. We signed a contract 3 weeks ago that we now can provide cannabis banking. There are 13,000 licenses in the country, so we just want a little bit of that. A little bit. We're going to be the PayPal and the Cash App of the industry because we get paid every swipe. Very excited about that. And so the biggest cannabis convention in the world is going to be in Vegas the 10th through the 14th of December. We are doing a VIP cannabis boss reception at the Palms Hotel, and we will be highlighting the top blacks in cannabis. We have talked to Mike Tyson, we talked to Snoop's people, we're talking to RJ's people, and Hope Wiseman. If you have not heard of her, Hope Wiseman is in Baltimore. She is the youngest dispensary owner, period, black or white, in the country. 26 years old, out of Spelman, so we'll be honoring her too. So it's a time to aggregate what's happening in the industry and be able to look, because this is truly the green rush. We have not had a time like this in history since the Prohibition. And so it's very important that African Americans play a role in this, because many of our brothers and sisters have gone to prison for this. And so how do we make sure that we're on the business side? And we're working all across the country. We started Minorities for Medical Marijuana 3 years ago. We're now in 33 states across the country.
Yes,
and
sir.
of course
That was me. I just said yes, sir.
It's all good stuff. I mean, I'm just evident of what's going on right now. I mean, just a little bit of background. He alluded to this. Yes.
It'll be out there.
Okay. He alluded to this. I wrote my book in 2000, Wall Street to the Hood. I did not release it because I'm an artist and a businessman. I didn't release it in 2017. And at this point now, based on what is happening with opportunity zones and what's happening with the cannabis industry, it has all come to fruition of what I wrote about some 19 years ago. So I'm really at a place of peace and purpose. And so connected with my brothers and sisters, not only in nationally, but globally, of what is happening. One little quick note on the opportunity zones, I have it up here. From a biblical perspective, we talk about the great wealth transfer. And I always tell people I don't serve a hocus pocus God. It's not going to rob the rich and get in the pool or fall off the sky and all this craziness. It's going to understand the skill set to make that happen. And so the best legislation I've seen in my career is opportunity zone. Why? Because it incentivizes people as opposed to forcing them. And so how do you incentivize them? You're getting 10 years capital gains tax deferred, right? So the Rockefeller Foundation has said there will be $6 trillion with a T that'll be transferred to urban America due to this capital strategy. That's never happened in the history of the world. And so we're right in the middle of this, and there's 8,700 opportunity zones around the country. We have 10 projects in 10 cities based on where we are in order to help this happen. So again, I am just full of purpose and strategies we do this for. So you all don't realize, but sometimes I tell people that God inspired man to write the Bible, but we are making history right now. And we have to understand that as we move into the fall. All right?
All right.
Any questions, anything? What time are we at? I want to make sure.
6:55.
Oh, 6:55. Great. So, before we bring up our two speakers, there's something happening in town. There's always something happening in town, particularly in justice world. And so Dr. Salam was just writing about what's going on. Can you just come up about 3 minutes and share what is happening and what you're working on out in St. Louis County? Let's give a round of applause, Dr. Salam.
As I said earlier, I'm actually a journalist and photojournalist as well. I got my career started when Mike Brown was killed in 2014, August the 9th. Since that time, I've traveled across the country and I've covered pretty much every major police-involved shooting. But recently, if you've been paying attention to the news, you heard about the young man on August the 31st. He was at the Galleria. He had a gun on him, they said, and they chased him. He fell, gun fell as he was in full stride. He was able to somehow or another grab the gun and kept on running. The police were still behind him. He ran about 200 yards up to the Simmons Bank upstairs, and they say turn around, raise the gun, and one officer and the other officer shot him. Well, what they didn't know is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, the banks are closed on the east side of the bank. But on the west side of the bank, the beauty shop was open.
Oh, yeah.
And there was dark windows, and you couldn't see in, but you could definitely see out. So people on the inside had their cameras going.
Oh, yeah.
And we just happened to get a phone call and let us know that, so we have it on film. And what we found is they pulled up after he was already dead inside the SUV of Richmond Heights and walked around, put the blue gloves on, went inside the vehicle, got the gun, and walked up to the other side.
Whoa.
So that means he did not have a gun on him when they killed him.
Whoa.
Okay. So of course, we gave them 3 months to tell us about it, to go through their investigation, and they chose not to. But of course, on Monday, when we released the video, and it's everywhere now, we got almost 50,000 people have viewed it. On Tuesday morning, they gave it to Wesley Bell. Now here's the thing, I reached out to Wesley Bell a month and a half ago, let him know we had something. I want him to see it first. Amir went to the city council meeting 3 consecutive times in the last 2 months. They paid him no attention. All right. He was flying back from out of town, and Wesley Bell was on the flight with him, so he had a chance. God put him right there with him. Told him about it. Nothing. After the video was shown on Monday, now everyone wants to talk. And not only do we have pictures of that happening, but we also have pictures of the shooter. And they don't know that we have that as well. So I'm just covering a major story. It's going to be at the front page of the Final Call tomorrow.
Which one?
The Final Call. Finalcall.com. So make sure you get it online. Finalcall.com is the cover story. And like I said, I'm here. I cover everything. I'm an investigative reporter, so I get into it. And so I just wanted to let you know that this is some of the great things that's happened this time. It's interesting you have me come up now when we got this gentleman here. It'll come up later, and believe me, he understands a lot of what I'm talking about. So I want to thank you for giving me an
What's the
opportunity.
readership of the Final Call, and how many front page stories have you written?
Thank you, sir. Well, since 2014, I've written about 380 articles. Wow. Okay. And I've had, to date, I've had 10 cover stories. So this is a blessing. A journalist is the voice for the voiceless. Okay? We speak for those who cannot speak. And we don't fabricate, we don't make up, we don't create. We just deal with the facts, and then the facts don't lie. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right. Give it So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that politics and economics are brothers and sisters. We have a brother who has a wide variety of experience in both those areas, both technology, business development, politics, and religion. And when the Ferguson unrest happened, his father opened up his church for a lot of people, including Charlotte, etc., who came from around the country.
Yes, sir.
And on the real, nobody paid. That's like being true. So nobody didn't pay, but he still opened the store. Right? So let's give a round of applause for State Representative Tommy Person.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right.
Well, first of all, good evening.
Good evening.
It's good to be here, and it's good to be just amongst such great minds and such great folks with great ambitions. Not only ambitions, but some folks who are doing it. So those two things often don't go together, but it's good when they do. Again, my name is Tommy Pearson Jr. I'm trying in my mind to really figure out which direction to go down, because you all have fed me already so much to where I want to talk about the politics and the legislation that's happening. I want to talk about some of the businesses and one of the business opportunities that is currently happening. And then there's the faith aspect of things as well. So let me talk politics for a moment. It was good to hear Dr. Lance say and remind us of how one of the biggest companies, if not the biggest company, got started with a government contract. So one of the things that I've tried to do in my time in the legislature is to position myself in leadership and to be knowledgeable and mindful as it relates to the budget and where the money goes, because that's vitally important. So when I started in 2016, I had my set of committees, and then now I'm the assistant minority floor leader and also on the budget committee, which steers $30 billion of the state's revenue. $30 billion of the state's revenue. And so when I hear of the various, again, aspirations that are happening in here, I want to be able to know what many of those things are so that we can see how we as a state can ensure that folks from my area, my district, are reaping some of these benefits. One of the things that I do, and that was kind of enlightening to me in the business arena, so I work for a company called BioRankings, and my degree is in applied statistics and applied mathematics from WashU. And I started working at this biostatistics company about a year ago. And one of the things that we're looking to do is to spin off a new company, and we're doing that through NIH grants. And what I didn't understand was that NIH grants, National Institute of Health grants, basically is free money from the government, whereby you create your proposal, you submit your proposal, and the phase one that we're applying for this particular spoke analytics company that we're spinning off is for $250,000. The phase two that we are going after is $1.5 million. And again, this is non-dilutive funds from the government that I was not aware of. And these are just some things that as we move forward and as I move forward to make folks aware of these various opportunities that exist so that some of the barriers to entry can be lowered. And so I'm here today just to, again, have a better understanding of some of the exciting things that are happening, because I believe that legislation affects each of these areas that are listed on this board. You know, when you start talking about cannabis and the cannabis finances and cannabis banking, and we as a state recently passing medical marijuana and not really having a good understanding of how we will deal with the transaction of the cash, again, the cash, because federally, you cannot put it in the federal bank, right? So we have to figure out as a state, how will we handle all of this money? And so if we are in position to handle the money, then I want to be able to say, well, you know, I know a solution. I know a solution whereby we can handle all of the money that's coming into the state by way of medical marijuana. And this is the solution.
Hey!
And so those are the things that I want to be able, as I am becoming more knowledgeable of the things that are going on, is to be that conduit to ensure that we are able to take advantage of all of the things that are happening at the state level. So again, I'm just glad to be here, glad to have this opportunity, and I consider this a start of a conversation whereby as I am able to stay involved in things that are happening at the state level and have an understanding of the things that are happening in this room and beyond, to be able to marry the two, whereby we can create some win-win solutions for us all. So I appreciate the time. Thank you. I'll be around for a little bit. I've got to pick up my crew from basketball practice. So believe it or not, they do hoop. When he stand up, you'll say, I believe his kids hoop. But mine, I don't know. Y'all be like, I don't know. But I appreciate it. I'll be around a little bit. And again, I consider this a conversation. So thanks for the opportunity.
I got a question. In regards to the grant that you were speaking of, what does that cover? What kind of health grant is that?
So the NIH, they have really departments in a lot of areas, almost all areas of health. So whether it be nursing specific, whether it be related to, I'll say metabolomics because that's some of the stuff that we're looking at. But however, did you have anything in mind? Maybe we'll start there.
No, I just know a couple of people that are going into assisted living and, you know, the daycares and the facility, elderly apartments and things like that.
Right, so it has to be innovative research.
Okay.
So it has to be related to innovative research. And so if they're able to package it in that way, then I would say we may be able to find some opportunities to proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Just to piggyback off you, ma'am, if you find something with technology to mix with healthcare that will award that facility to better take care of those elderly people, because that's a problem now.
Yes.
So if you could find something to go into that, that's what he's talking about. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Any other questions for Rep. Peterson? Let's get a round of applause. We always try to provide information of what's going on in the city and in the state. If you listen closely, he said a $30 billion budget. The governor is one of the most powerful people that I see in any state around the country, because you're running a business. You have direct access to 12 departments, and you're able to assist in making it happen. That's why I had consulted and ran Dave Spence campaign ran for governor. I was trying to tell people he's St. Louis, he's going to give St. Louis love, despite what party, he's going to give St. Louis love, but he can direct. And we were saying 25% of all contracts are coming to the play. And so we appreciate what you're doing. We're going to definitely work with you on the medical marijuana and all the other great things that the state is doing. And I always am happy to see a real brother in politics. Amen. Because we know we don't have many such as Mayor Jackson back in the day that said that only every 25% of anything's going on is going to happen. We need brothers and sisters doing that and moving our agenda forward, because you can use politics in order to create wealth for black people. All righty, so our next speaker is one of the real brothers as well. We have worked together with the Ethics Project with Dr. Christie and a wide variety of issues in the St. Louis area. He gave me a brief overview of his background, ranging from policeman all the way down to the city's state attorney's office. He is very well read and spoken. You're gonna feel the realness, and he used to hoop a little bit. Let's give a round of applause for Mr. Redditt Hudson.
I appreciate you, man. And thank you all for having me this evening. I've learned more in these 25 minutes.
Shut
man.
up!
I'm telling you, bro. When you asked me to come, the first thing I said to you, I don't know business, because I know you are business. I think, man, I'm not gonna, what can I talk about? You should just come and talk about whatever you want to talk about. So here I am. And, you know, listening to you all, what a resource you all are. And I would hope that at some point you find a way to bring this resource to our people in the city. We lack for it, man. Our kids definitely lack for it. Our kids are traumatized, deeply traumatized. And I'll share a story with you because poverty, as you know, what you're talking about is a way out. But not just you all, but for a whole lot of people, if we can buy them into it, if we buy them into it, poverty crushes lives, man. When I was an officer, and I'm able to tell this story now, I told it a few months back and couldn't hardly get through it. But when I was an officer, man, I was briefly assigned, if you can imagine this, I was in the 8th District, which is in North St. Louis over at the station on Union. And I had been assigned to the SCAT unit, the old SCAT unit. Remember Street Corner Apprehension Team? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And so I was on the arrest team originally. The SCAT unit is composed of an arrest team and undercover officers. The undercover officers go out into the community to buy drugs. They make a notification when the sale takes place to the arrest team via a code word that we hear you say because you're wearing a wire. We hear the code word, we move in. That made sense for me to be on the arrest team. I had a sergeant though, and this story connects to what I want to talk about, who did not have the highest opinion of some folks. And he decided at some point that he was going to put me on the undercover team. And not only was he going to put me on the undercover team, he took me undercover my first night out in the district that I had worked in. I kid you not, man. I kid you not.
Shut up!
And the same way you all laughed just now was the same way the brothers in the city was laughing at me when I was trying to approach them like I'm trying to buy something. It's the same, he laughed just like you did. Like Hudson, come on, man. Hudson, what you doing, man? What you doing? You was gonna show me, right? And I told him what was gonna happen, so he wised up and took me to another district a few nights later. And it was in this other district, man. This brother was in the car with me, I was undercover, and he didn't know what was. And he was then probably close to the age that I am now. This is almost 20 years ago. And I just remember, as the UC, I had the code word. Code word on any given day could be anything. It could be coffee cup, it could be plate, it could be cell phone, whatever. Something that you can use in a sentence ordinarily, so that when I say, hey man, let me just pull my cell phone out and then we'll finish up. The other officers who heard me say cell phone, here they come. So I'm sitting next to this brother, and he was talking to me, and we had agreed that an exchange was going to be made, but he needed to go to the house and get what he needed and come back. Came back to the car, and as we were finalizing things, man, he said to me, as genuinely as you can imagine, he said, brother, I hate what I'm doing. I hate what I'm doing. I don't want to do this, but it's the only way I can keep a roof over my daughter's heads. I don't have any other way. I can't get hired, and I have to keep a roof over there. This is a dangerous place we live, man. I have to protect my daughters. Their mother isn't in their lives. She's a drug addict. And if I'm not in their lives, I don't know what's going to happen to them, man. I'm all they have. That's why I do this. And here I am sitting next to him, finna give a shitty ass word. Right. So I say that to say that the economic aspect that you all are describing is a life for us. In a world that's changing around us, in a world where at the top of our administration, you have an avowed white supremacist whose policies are set forth on that basis. Open criminal, lawless, to the core, committing crimes against humanity at our southern borders, pardoning war criminals who murdered children overseas, turning up subpoenas and throwing them in the ashtray because they don't really, these laws don't apply to us, they apply to you. What policies going forward for our children who are deeply traumatized will be the ones that will sustain them other than our own agency and ability to provide for ourselves and thrive ourselves. What I heard here tonight is beautiful in my ears, man. Beautiful in my ears. I wish you all success and the ability to share it and move others toward it. You said something tonight about us living history. We are living history right now. We are living history. St. Louis has been ground zero for criminal justice reform since Mike got killed. Not just a local movement inspired by those young people on those streets. Not just a national movement inspired by those young people on those streets, but an international movement for human rights.
Amen.
That centers right where we stand.
Amen.
There's an opportunity now with a prosecutor in the city, Kim Gardner, a prosecutor in the county, Wesley Bell, positioned to address the systemic racism that plagues not only our criminal justice system, but every system in the United States. When I say that, I've spoken to diverse audiences and said the same thing. The way I make that conversation accessible to everybody is to say this. In the back, bruh, when I say that our criminal justice system is institutionally racist and that the genesis of this country is its foundation in white supremacy, that is not an attack on individual white people who live now. It has nothing really to do with you because the conditions I'm describing that we need to address pre-exist us. We were born into this reality. But it is our reality.
My Lord.
It is our reality, so we are forced to address that reality. Our failure then would be in not addressing this responsibility to undo it.
Yes, sir.
And that is the opportunity that is afforded us right now. You see it in St. Louis all the time. What's our conversation at the station all the time? We need our own media.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We
sir.
have to have the ability to move our own information in context based on our lived experience with our reference and framing to the best advantage of our people, objectively, of course. We don't have to be psychophantically, homogeneously aligned and everybody locked still. We all think the same thing. No, we don't. No, we don't. But we have to have the ability to move our information.
Yes, sir.
Because others will destroy us with theirs and their misinformation. It's devastating, man. You see it in St. Louis all the time. The attack on black leadership is consistent, regular, like the clock.
Yes.
You knew they were going to come after Jim Gordon. She knew they were going to come after her. She didn't care. We didn't care. We don't take your frame of reference about our sister's work. We don't care what you have to say about her effort. Same thing for Wesley. Same thing for Tashara, any other leader who stands up. I told you I was at the Urban League. Briefly. My thought on the Urban League is it's an excellent organization. I think they receive criticism that is unwarranted for the role that they play in our community. It is a vital one. It's vital. They provide services and help to masses of people, man, who would otherwise not receive it. I'm clear. It is also a corporate-centric entity, and I was there in the capacity of Vice President of Civil Rights and Advocacy. That was what I was brought. I came from the national staff of the NAACP to come home to do that work, and it wasn't quite the right fit for me, but it's not a shot at the organization, just wasn't the right fit for me over time. But I did have an opportunity. You talk about CEOs and corporate folks. Man, I had an opportunity to address some CEOs personally in a setting where specifically the issue was civil rights. What can we do about what's happening in St. Louis? Crime is killing us. I don't think crime is necessarily the thing that's killing the region in terms of its growth and opportunity to grow. I think it is the racism and the regressive thinking of the region that really holds it back. But that's what I told the CEOs that I met with. It was about 6 or 7 of them, and some other attorneys and other affiliated folk in the room that were asking me. So I candidly was like, look, man, you all have a role to play in this, man. It's more than just philanthropy. It's more than just giving the money to. Take a proactive, public, not in the closed room, come out to the microphone and say in words, as a civic leader in this city, CEO, we don't have the answer, maybe, but we know what the problem is. Racism is killing us in this region. We say that we want to invest our work and our money in an effort, even if we don't have all the answers right now, to break it down, dismantle it, destroy it, so that we can go forward. The world is changing. As I get ready to close, I don't want to talk too much. The world is changing around us. The resistance that you see at the top, characterized most clearly by a lunatic who campaigned on xenophobia. Others are coming for our resources. You must keep them out. Meanwhile, the biggest threat we face, just open almost asset to foreign powers who campaign on the idea of white supremacy and its preservation, which is at the core, economic considerations notwithstanding, is at the core of his consistent support, is we want to remain in charge. We want to remain in control of all the resources. We want you to continue to be marginalized. We want you to continue to be dehumanized. And this is the guy that's going to help us do it. Witness the complicity, as I really get ready to witness the complicity at the top. Open lies, being parroted and supported by people who know they're lying to you. In service to a madman, a physical coward who dies the draft. Yes, sir. But who props up himself in front of military people all the time, talk about how tough he is. But he, you know, his feet hurt when it was time for him to go over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. I'm like, let me just say this. I'm confident in our ability to overcome any obstacle. Our ancestors came through worse, which is why we stand here today. Their courage and strength and integrity and stamina, unparalleled maybe in human history. But the opportunity that you are describing, brother, that you all have involved yourself in, is a critical piece of our very salvation going forward. It's more than just, it's good that you can do for yourself, but what you all are doing, if successful,
come on,
and giving to those we love, you will make history, man. On a scale that you may not even understand yet. So I appreciate the invite, man. I didn't know it was going to be this. When I got here, I was sitting there listening. I was just soaking it up like a sponge. I'm like, wow, you got some information. You brothers with the 8A, and I'm listening, man. I'm listening. So thank you. I'm available for questions, or if you got something real quick you want to ask me. But I love you all for having us. We just have to love ourselves and each other enough to continue to consistently fight in truth and integrity and to better the human condition for everybody.
Go ahead.
For all races, man.
Go ahead.
With that.
That's it.
So thanks. Yes, ma'am.
It's something you said when you introduced yourself, about the corruption at the top.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I'm at the White House.
45.
Well, at the top, I mean, it's, you know, anywhere, in the police.
Well, you got it there too. Police
Okay,
culture,
so-
that's a whole separate talk.
Maybe-
I can go longer on that talk.
No, that's why I wanted to ask you, because, you know, they fired the police chief in Chicago.
I saw that.
What do you think?
They said that he was asleep or lied about something. Chicago, here's what I
They
think.
said, well, she said he lied, she said, the mayor said that he lied to her, and that she knows he lied.
Well,
And she gave him an opportunity, you know, to, I guess, redeem himself or whatever. Now, he had also was getting ready to retire.
mhm.
So if he gets fired,
I don't know if that affects his pension or not, but it may not, because if you recall, there was a man, and I can't remember his name, but he presided in Chicago over a unit that tortured over 400 black men in Chicago. Anybody familiar with that?
Yeah.
And he elicited false confessions from them. And many of them did time behind it because they wanted that, whatever they were doing, and they needed it to stop. So yeah, I did. And they sent him to prison. They finally charged and convicted him. And then after he got out, he got his pension. Yeah, I can't remember his name. But I'll say this about police culture generally. In our country, it also is rooted in its racism.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you have good officers who are people trying to do a very difficult job of all races. But on any given day, as my former colleague K.L. Williams, who was a training officer for St. Louis City PD, who wrote the use of force policy for St. Louis City PD, says that on any given day in a major city in this country with a major police department, on any given day, you have 15% of your officers who are going to do the right thing all the time, whether somebody's watching them or not. You have 15% of your officers who are going to abuse the power and take advantage of that in every way that they can, at every opportunity. They just take the drug money, put the drugs on you, whatever it is. 15% of that every day. That leaves 70% of your officers who can go either way, depending on who's got the greater influence and who's pulling. Unfortunately, these officers over here always exert an outsized influence on the culture of the department. They're the ones going on the real police. You didn't hit that guy, so that foolishness. So what's required then, and you see it happening in St. Louis County of all places, is at the top, they're remaking that Board of Police Commissioners, which as I understand it, has real authority in the context of an independent oversight entity to hold officers accountable for rule violations, policy violations, human rights violations, civil rights violations, when they violate those things. You want to look at those things objectively. Every case that comes through that involves an officer doesn't mean the officer is guilty. I'm an experienced person who knows that there are good arrests that can look bad. I know that. You can be arrested somebody that can look pretty bad, but it's how it had to go down based on your training and whatever. I'm also clear that there are officers without, it's not even up for legitimate debate. There are officers that will willfully violate your human rights, civil rights, and civil liberties, and do so with impunity, with the absolute expectation that ain't nothing gonna happen to me for what I did. Period. That's what they're used to. So I think that officer may have a case to bring against whoever got him, because what he can point to is so many other instances where no one was fired under similar circumstances.
That's what I was kind of getting to.
Yeah.
You know, with him, because I know there's, you know, he's not the only officer that fell asleep at the stop sign.
No.
Or the only officer that, you know, they found drinking or, you know.
There have been even greater transgressions than that in Chicago PD.
Right.
There been resulting termination. I mean, if I'm making the case, that's the case. I'm acting like that. Are you kidding me? This is what I get terminated for? I got you. I'll see you in court.
She came right to the termination. She came, had her press conference.
Yeah,
you gone.
Yeah, well, look at what they did with Lamar, what's the kid that got killed? They shot him 16 times.
McDonald.
There's been so many, I get the names. Laquan McDonald.
Yes.
I mean, they held that evidence out for a year. The prosecutor in that city and others had seen the footage that absolutely negated the story that the police officers all wrote in their reports. It was just absolutely 100% false. Unequivocally, objectively, there's no way that you saw what you said you saw, because we just saw what you saw. Which was you gunned this kid down in cold blood and lied for a year. Would have got away with it, but again, the light of day is a hell of a thing. And once that video came out, that was a wrap.
Go ahead now.
All right, let's give a round of applause. Business, of course, is our core, but we have to talk in totality. And so we have great speakers like Redditt and Representative Harrison to be able to share what is going on collectively. And so we have to have a collective movement in order to change the lives of our people, coming from the poverty and injustices all the way to economics. So we're very pleased and blessed that you're here tonight, both of you all. Before we bring on Bishop, I know you're back there, evening sister, but could you just give us 2 minutes quickly about your organization, because it ties into the police and ties into everything else. Come on up, 2 minutes, and then we'll move on to Bishop. I know you're back there.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
That's great.
It was good. My name is Erica Jones. I do a couple of things. I've been promoted back and forth, but one of my things that I work with young people that deals with adolescent substance abuse from ages 12 to 17. So I get all the kids that's shot at, kids that's, jumped on people. I had one of my mothers, Miss Saga, the 7-year-old little boy mother that was assaulted at the Hamley Metro Link, and they broke her nose. And just because she was directing a child, using profanity, was like, hey, chill out. It's a lot. I deal with an organization, my own, that's a grassroots organization. It's called Voice of the Voiceless. It's in support for mothers who have lost children to gun violence. I give them opportunity to be able to use certain methods in order for them to cope for the loss of their child. Also give them resources, therapists, doctors. I also work with another organization, y'all should have heard of it by now. It's called Stop the Bleed with Dr. Punch. That is trauma first aid. And what we do is go in different schools, facilities, corporate businesses, and show people, just like ordinary people like y'all, how to assist with trauma first aid.
Can I just say, she's, as you know, Dr. Punch is now
on the board.
St. Louis County Police Board Commissioner.
On the board. That's definitely a step up, but she was attacked. And when I say she was attacked,
of course,
I sat in that room and almost jumped up on the podium with her, because she was attacked. There was people speaking against her, and I mean, just
of course,
everything, anything from social media on up, they was attacking like sharks. But it didn't matter, because we won the battle at the end. So 17 more days, she'd be in, she fine. A lot of people don't understand that we've trained over 6,000 people in trauma first aid, and what it is basically, say if somebody, God forbid, come in here shot, what will most of the people do? You either run, start panicking, screaming, yelling, and hollering. 9 times out of 10, people in the city is more likely to die waiting on an ambulance, because it takes, fact, 10 to 17 minutes before an ambulance get there.
That's right.
So why not train my people, people period, on how to be their own first trauma responders. So what we do is we show you how to do it. The next class is on December the 9th. It's at 5 p.m. Like I said, we've trained over 6,000, but St. Louis's population is 307,000. I'm trying to populate and teach everybody that I can, teach and help along the way. So this is definitely something that we as people need to get involved with.
Where will it take place?
It will be at the T5874 Delmar Boulevard at 5 p.m. And the class takes no more than 30 minutes. It's about the same time you get up, get prepared in the morning, get ready, and walk out the door for work.
Cost.
It's free. It's free. That's the love of it. It's
What
free.
day?
It's on next Monday. It's at 5 o'clock. I know that's how we do it. But anything that helps and be able to put back into the community, we're training middle schoolers all the way up. So we've been in schools, cities, like I said, everything that there is, but I'm definitely trying to get Dr. Punch to move it. We've even did police officers, first responders, EMTs, different ones like that. And some of the people think that first aid and trauma first aid is the same thing. It's not the same thing. So please don't think it's the same thing. It's totally 2 different things. This is actually dealing with someone being shot, and you know what to do. So, I mean, if you guys would like to come, find out what's on our agenda, you can go up on STB, STL, and find out, any upcoming classes. Like I said, it is free, the classes are free. We do give kits out. Those kits is for you to keep in your car in case of incident, and any, thing that's used out of those things, we do replace them. All we actually do is go up on the website, post your story, and we replace everything from the tourniquets, geeks, from the gauze, all of that. So, thank you for putting me on front.
When you look at the part of our people, there are enormous problems, but we have solutions, particularly in this room, we can make a difference. That being said, Bishop?
I'm gonna tell y'all, like I tell my people on Sunday morning, if y'all come on time, I'll let you out on time. I keep on you. Yeah, y'all remember I keep from the day? So 3 things I want to share with you after I read from the good book. Okay, three points, and then we're gonna take a picture up in front. But Hebrews chapter 10, verse 12 says, for after he laid down for sin, he sat at the right hand of God the Father Almighty. That's Jesus. First of all, I heard Dickinson say, he didn't say it, Martin Luther King said it, and somebody probably said it before Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said it, there is no plagiarism. Come on here. When you're dealing with the high, the most high. Now in school, you might get a failing grade in college if you take somebody else's work. But in the kingdom I'm talking about.
Yes,
yeah, come on there. I'm talking about a higher high.
Yes, sir.
There is no plagiarism. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Don't make no difference if it's coming from your mouth or my mouth. You say, well, what they talking about? I'm talking about, I heard Dr. Salam say, that it's a fact. But see, we live in a new day now, folks. Come on here.
Yes,
come on here.
Yes,
it's not about the fact. It's something higher than fact. It's the truth, baby. Come on here. The facts can be A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. My brother just said it. You can see a video without having all of the evidence, without having the audio. Come on here. Yeah, and you can think that it's legit, and it's not at all. Come on here. Listen, I've been on radio, I've been on TV, and it's about who edits you. Come on here. They can make you look as good or as bad as they want to. Somebody better help me tonight.
You always go live.
Man, come on here. Come on here.
Always go live, man.
My third point is this. This book says that the God of this world has blinded their eyes. And that's what we're dealing with racism. You be a fool, come on here, to be a black woman or a black man and say, there is no racism. Come on here. Come on here. But see, the God of this world wants me to believe that Larry is my enemy rather than their enemy is my enemy. Come on here. Come on here. I'm just going to go deep now. Come on here. See, you got to stop falling for the okie doke. It's not about skin color. It's a matter of your heart, baby. Come on here. Skin color ain't got nothing to do with it. Come on now. I close with this one, and then NexCore, they may give you a tour of the building if they like. We have some of the owners and the co-owners here, but we're gonna go up and take a picture. Come on here. So my daughter, she married a Caucasian man, and so when she brought the boy home, I just shook my head. I said, no, Sharon, what are you doing? She said, Daddy. I said, what? She said, you've been an equal opportunity lover all your life. Guess who's coming to dinner? to the beat. Y'all remember the 45? Come on there. Where on one side you had the words, and on the other side you had the instrumental. You just play it and hit it and play it. So this boy has turned out to be the best thing for me and my family. See, when my daughter was a little girl, I used to put that roller on her head with that bang. Come on, come on here. Come on here, yeah. And twist this one and curl that one. I prayed that God would send her a man at the appropriate time that would love her only second to what her father loves her today. And guess what? God answered my prayer. He didn't put him in a white sheep's clothing. As I stand and we get ready to go, let me share with you. So it's the day of the wedding. I didn't put out $20,000. Everybody there. Everybody there. So actually, it was the night before, which was the rehearsal dinner. Everything's paid for. I'm looking dapper. Come on here. My mama shows up. Come on, that's another story.
I know that story.
So I really didn't know my son-in-law well, but at the rehearsal dinner, we got to the venue. He speeds up to the front of the door, jumps out of the car, goes around to the side of the car, gets my daughter out, walks her into the restaurant, seats her, gets back in the car, and goes back to the parking lot and parks the car. Somebody say hallelujah. That's what I prayed for. So I didn't know him and I didn't know his daddy too well. Come on here. So I said to his daddy as we walked in the restaurant, I said, how long do you think that SHIT's going to do that? Preacher man, come on here. And the Holy Spirit kicked me in my behind and said, man of God, you prayed for that man. He showed up. Now you won't put your mouth on him. Because of what you have not been doing or you won't do for you and yours. I walked this way. James Dickinson said something else. It's a poor frog that don't know its own ribbon. Come on here. When you look in the mirror, you ought to know, amen, your faults. Come on here. Sir. You ought to know your weaknesses. Come on here. One of the reasons why I give 45 a pass, and I look, come on here. Not a hall pass, come on here. Because I've been that boo-boo the fool who opens his mouth and inserts foot on the daily. Okay. That's what I've done. So when I realize how God has forgiven me, come on here, yeah. Hey, over and over again, he just forgives me. Come on here. He just keeps right on forgiving me. He keeps right on loving me. Come on here. Yeah, he keeps right on.
Yes, sir.
When I'm shaken and I realize my weakness and my faults, I can forgive somebody else. Mm-hmm. Would you walk with me, please? Yes. And Larry and the staff are going to give you instructions also. But would you stand and come, let's take our picture. Let us pray. Father God, in the name of your Son, Jesus, bless us as we leave this place, but never your presence. We thank you for a glorious time. It's always good when you show up and show out. Yes. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, let everybody say amen and amen and amen. Amen. All right.